Hi, my name is James Baskerville, and I'm a seminary student at Indiana Wesleyan Seminary. I'm also a former Marine drill instructor and a former commander of an American embassy. I'm producing this video because of an assignment that I've been given. I've been given two resources for this assignment, both videos. The first video was the video about the Japanese and U.S. propaganda wars, the battle for the hearts and minds. This video depicted the propaganda method that both the Americans and the Japanese used during World War II conflict, the role Hollywood played through the motion pictures that were produced in forming the narratives of what it meant to be an American. The Japanese propaganda took on the narratives of being a superior and divine people, a people blessed by their God and destined to rule the world. The second video was about the Japanese internment camps built in the United States during World War II. Actor George Takei, best known in his role as Zulu in the original Star Trek, tells his personal experience of living in these internment camps with his parents from 1942 through 1945. There were 5 questions that I was asked to answer. The first question being, what is your overall response to the role propaganda plays in shaping perspective about people from other cultures? Do you see evidence of ethnic-focused propaganda today? Because I'm a military veteran and former Marine boot camp drill instructor, I know the role of propaganda plays in the shaping a man's belief system. I taught and have trained many men through the power of propaganda. From the first day the new recruits set foot on Parris Island, South Carolina, Marine boot camp, they were indoctrinated with the narratives of America's superiority and belief that we are the good guys, and anyone we are at war with during this particular time was evil and the enemy. I remember as a recruit in the late 70s having a war table in our barracks with souvenirs that our drill sergeants had brought back from Vietnam. Chopped off ears in jars of liquid, gold teeth and fingers of Vietnamese soldiers they had killed. We were being trained to replicate this with our new enemy, the Kremlin and Moscow. Today, there is definite evidence of ethnic-focused propaganda aimed towards Mexicans and those of Latin American descent. However, those that are in leadership positions in our government are much more diverse in color, gender, and philosophy, and are not all drinking the propaganda Kool-Aid of racial superiority and America, the just and Christian people. Question 2. In segment 17 of Propaganda Wars, the narratives of the United States government documentary closes with these words: we are setting a standard for the treatment of people who may have loyalties to an enemy nation. We are protecting ourselves without violating the principle of Christian decency. What is your reaction to that statement? Well, my reaction is I believe that this was another attempt from our government to try and sway the thoughts of American people with the narrative that we are dealing with those who are not loyal to our nation without malice in our hearts and in keeping with the U.S. principle of Christian values. Question 3. What are your reaction to the overall message conveyed by the U.S. government through its explanation for forcing Japanese Americans into internment camps? I thought American leaders must have made this decision after visiting their nightly pub in Washington, D.C., or after an official KKK meeting in the White House. This was a miss at the highest level of paranoia, but consistent with the history of America when dealing with others in this country who are not of the white race, i.e., Native American Indians, Black Americans, Japanese Americans, and now Latin Americans and their descendants that reside here with us. Question 4, what are your reactions to hearing about the same historic event, the Japanese internment camp experience from the perspective of George Takaki, a Japanese American witness. I would say to him, Mr. Takaki, the above ethnic groups I mentioned feel your pain, and I am very proud of the decision your parents made in choosing to answer no to question number 28 from the 40-question loyalty questionnaire that was given to all interned Japanese. It stated, will you swear your loyalty to the United States of America and forswear your loyalty to the Emperor of Japan? It is much more important to be judged by the context of one's character rather by the color of one's skin. Lastly, question 5. If you were to engage in some type of ongoing cross-cultural ministry with the Japanese American upon their release from the internment camps, what would that ministry be, and what first steps would you take to begin? The ministry would be a one of reconciliation and the pursuit of asking them to forgive those who have done wrong to them in both thought and especially in deed. My first step would be to help them gain reparation from our government, as did those leaders during the civil rights movement. It was Martin Luther King Jr. who wrote in his biography, along the way of life, someone must have sense enough and morality enough to cut off the chain of hate and evil. The greatest way to do that is through love. I believe firmly that love is a transforming power that can lift a whole community to new horizons of fair play, goodwill, and justice. Godspeed.